Hey guys, I thought I'd do a video about grades. And it's not a bad thing. I just want to show you guys how teachers do grades, and maybe you can get an idea of what, like, when you hear like a curve and what a curve is, and what Mr. Shaw is trying to do. When I look at things, I go, oh my goodness, the grades, may not have been as good as I'd liked on this test, and I want to give grades that represent like effort in class and things that like I value. So here are some actual grades. These are the raw scores from a quiz that I just graded. So here they all are. And I want to turn these points into a grade. So I'm just going to do it like a fraction. So I'm going to take this divided by the total points, which is 20. So you can see immediately that when I fill this up, you'll see that there are some very low scores. And in fact, let's turn them into more familiar scores by multiplying each one by 100. So you'll actually get to see the point score there. So there I go. Here's my formula. I'm going to uh, implement that to all these, and you'll see that, oh, wow, these grades are not so good. And I can double check those, like, let me just put this in and I go average. Do it. And I just take all these, and I can quickly see what the average was for this. It was a 45. Oh, geez, that's bad. That's bad. You don't want that, and I don't want that. Let me try to do something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a curve. But first, I'd like to look at the distribution. So I'm going to come up with, this is going to be very weird at first, I'm going to make bins. You might be saying, Mr. Shaw, bins, where is this coming from? Well, you'll see in a second, because I would like to see this distribution. So here are my bins. So now I'm going to have to go to data, and you'll see data analysis, okay? And you might have to install this, actually. So you might have to install this. I think you go to like file, cancel, file, and you might see, well, I don't even know. Where am I looking? Hmm, that's strange. I'm trying to think about where you go to this. Oh, add-ins. There we go. No, that's not it. Well, I will find this later, and I'll tell you how I got this. But I have installed this data analysis thing, and it's free, guys. If you have Excel, it comes with it, so it's a great tool to have. It's very much more sophisticated than what you're used to. So I'm just going to do data analysis, and you'll see a couple cool things. And you'll see random number generators, and one of my favorites is the descriptive statistics. But we have a histogram right here, and that's actually might be what I'm going for. I think so. Okay, let's do it. So my input range of my histogram is going to be your grades. Enter. And do you see my bin range? That's going to be those bins. You might have been wondering why Mr. Shaw made these bins. Those are the bins for the grade. And I'm going to put output range. I'm just going to put it right here and see if that works. Yep, there we go. So now you'll see, guys, I've made this. And this is I'll see about highlighting this and bringing this up towards the top. You may say, well, what is this, Mr. Shaw? It's got my bins again. They're my bins that you just talked about. And it's got these. Well, this is what we call a distribution. I can see where your guys' scores actually ended up. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a graph. I'm going to go with a bar graph. So I'm just going to take the frequencies, a column graph actually, and I'm going to make the columns. So look at this. Well, it's not perfect. It's not exactly what I'd like. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to manipulate it some more so I can see that distribution that I really would like to see. Sorry, I'm going to make it smaller so I can stop doing stuff. Here we go. Okay, so I've got it, but I want to change the data a little bit. So I'm going to go select data, and you'll see this right here, the horizontal. It's weird how bar graphs are, but I'm just going to select the bins. And there we go. So these are the grades, and I can really see a distribution of where all my grades are. I got a lot of people around a 60. Remember my average before that I found was a 45. And I've got this. I've got a lot of people down here that, they work hard in my class and they may have done really bad in this quiz because they might not have known what I was expecting them to give them. So I'm going to think about a way where I can actually take this data and push it over here. I'll do a little drawing real quick. So like right now, A lot of like people, you'll see a distribution. This is what our distribution looks like. So I'm gonna go back, get an idea, and it kind of looks something like this. And this is our distribution. So down here are the bad grades, and up here are the good grades. And what I'd like to do is I'd actually like to almost basically just make a force where I push everything, I compact everything. I'm going to take all this and I'm actually going to smash it up so more things are towards the good. But when I do that, I actually have to kind of distort the shape of it. It's not going to look the way that we thought it did before. So I'm actually going to compress it some, and it's kind of hard to show what I'm trying to do on this. Maybe this would be a day to go into Paint. Let's actually try to do this on Paint. Mr. Shaw's good old friend. So here we go. We're doing something like this. Because once again, here's our distribution. It looks something strange like this. And over here I had like 100. And over here I had like a 0. And right here this was like 60. And over here was like 45. And I don't want this to be like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually select this area of my graph. And I'm going to actually try to compress it, mathematically compress it. So grades are more up here where I'd like them to be. I'd like to actually evacuate this lower end of the grade spectrum. So how do I do that? We've got to go back to Excel. So I'm going to go back to my grades. I'm actually going to make a new sheet. So here are my grades again, and I'm just going to copy them, and I'm going to paste. And sometimes you can do this. This is a cool thing, guys. Go paste special, and you can just paste the values. And that way, your formulas don't get all messed up. So here are my values again, guys, and here's what the original ones were. So I'm going to drag everything down. I'm going to call this raw, because those were raw scores. And here was your original. And now I'm going to do adjusted. And this is actually how I adjusted it. I think I spelled adjusted, right? How I adjusted it for your previous quiz. I did this. I go equal your raw divided by 2 plus 10. And that's how I got your scores. So these are your scores that you would see on Jupyter Grades right now. Now this may be annoying because you're like, oh, well, they don't match up with my originals. Because remember, guys, your raw scores, I said they were out of 20. When we go back to this sheet, you look at these, I said they were out of 20 and that multiplied by 100. Well, I'm going to have to do the same thing for these for you guys to see them the way you are familiar with grades. So I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to put a parenthesis around them, divide them by 20, and multiply by 100. I think this will work. I hope so. Excuse me. And it did. So here's our new scores. So let's look at them now. Let's take these scores, and I'm actually going to copy my good old friend histogram over here. Copy. And I've actually never done this before. This should be fun. I'm going to paste my histogram over here. Now, I'm going to make a new histogram. So let's go back, you guessed it, to data, data analysis, histogram. Okay. Input range. Now this time I'm not doing my original, I'm doing my adjusted. So here's my input range. Okay. And I'm going to do my new bins. My bins are right here. Oh, that's not my bins. Here's my bins. And my output, I'm going to put it, sure, that's fine. Okay. So here's my new. Now, once again, guys, remember, you may say, oh, Mr. Shaw, I'm trying to do this at home and I can't do this. You're going to have to install it. It's free. I'll look up where to install it, but it's somewhere in there. I'll take a second and I'll look that up. So let's make a new graph that we can see our stuff in. So I'm going to go over here where I got some space to do some things. And we'll look at how I shifted this distribution. So we're going to make a column graph. And I need to select data, add. Well, that's kind of silly. Silly name. Let's call this one original. Original recipe. Original. And my values, well, they are these ones right here. Don't do the more. Escape. Don't add the more. Okay. So there's my original. Okay. And I'm going to add another one, though. And my new one, series 2, this is going to be adjusted. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to get these. And once again, don't get the more. Enter. And okay. And remember, once again, I need to edit these over here because look at these across the bottom. They're kind of weird values. So I'd like to actually have my bins across the bottom. Okay. And you can see my grade distribution. I'm going to scooch over here. And I'm actually going to make this very big. Well, as big as we can do it here. And you'll see, guys, whoa, look, this original set of data that was right here, you can see this trend, and I've actually pushed it with my math, with the powers of math. I've pushed this original distribution and I've compressed it over here by the grades, over here in a much more positive realm. And this is because I appreciate other things rather than grades, guys. I appreciate the hard work you put in my class. Okay, hopefully you watch this video and enjoy it, and you learn something.